starting with the bodily location, the heart on the right, there's a heart on the left, the physical heart, and there's a heart on the right, which is known the seat of the source, the channel of bliss and the channel of consciousness. So it has been known that the heart on the right is where consciousness shines through the mind, through the conditioning, and illuminates one's being. In my own experience, I can validate and confirm that this channel of bliss is the channel of consciousness is here, and many students around the world have also came to feel it. And I remember some time ago when I came to full consciousness, there was and we can say a certain illumination or consummation of this this heart on the right. I call it the inner sun. So I remember an experience when it shone through, or was shining through, and it consumed all the mind. It consumed, just like the sun, when it comes out of the clouds, it shines through. So the same way, this inner sun and the heart on the right is here, and it's always active to a certain degree. We know that for average human person is only 4%. And then as you come higher in the levels of consciousness, or come closer back to the self, it increases. At the same time, not everybody has the same experience of the inner, of the heart on the right, in terms of opening of consciousness. So it may not be a conscious experience of this heart on the right shining through. So it depends on a person. So the reason why I'm saying this is that you should not have a particular expectation that now I'm going to wait until it shines through, and it has to shine through, and I'm going to force to shine it through. So no, there's no forcing of it at all, and no particular expectation should be placed upon it. It is something just to be known, and of course, practice. The inner sun practices are really good for it, but in a very unconditional way, in a very allowing way, whatever comes to come. More likely, most likely, most will feel not the inner sun, but more of some pressures, some tensions in the heart on the right. Most people would feel certain, what I call clouds, in the heart on the right or in the chest. And these are certain pressures and tensions. Now, the big cause of these pressures and tensions is the attention and focus being mixed up with certain energies, with certain thought patterns, certain mind structures. Now, the attention and focus is maybe you know the what is called the squeeze ball. Yeah, you squeeze it, so it assumes the deformated form, and then when you release it, it unsqueezes. So as you squeeze the squeeze ball, there is a certain tension. There is a certain tension, and thus it is squeezed. And when you release it, it comes back into its natural, round, relaxed shape. So the same way is that people are squeezed. People are squeezed, basically. Everybody's squeezed by your focus and attention. And therefore, it feels a bit uncomfortable. There are stresses and strains and various tensions due to intermixing with emotions, with thought patterns, with energies. Essentially, I call it the mind structures, because even emotional intermixing is still a mental structure. It's a certain mental structure in its deeper way. So this intermixing creates a natural contraction, because maybe at that particular time it was okay to interact with a particular energy or mind structure, but you know, things come and go, and then you know, you go into a mind structure, but you don't come out of it, and then you stay in it, you keep it, and then life moves on, and different situations come up, and you're still holding the same structures. So that creates various conditions and locks and bonds. A very common word is bondage, and that's what it means: being bonded, being bonded or mixed up, or we can say bonded, which is limited, restricted, or stuck in a way. So your attention is we can say it's a bit squeezed and it's mixed up. And the purpose is of one of the practices of inner sun meditation is to unsqueeze your attention. Yeah, it's to unsqueeze it, it's to relax it. And not only like to relax, just like, oh, I'm gonna do nothing, but to consciously withdraw your attention from interactions with names and forms. Yeah, from interactions with names and forms. And names and forms are basically all objects. But today I want to emphasize the word name and form. And any energy that you would ever feel, any feeling that you would ever feel, is a form, and you know, as soon as you know what it is, there's a name to it as well. So names and forms, and that's what all the interactions are. So the emphasis is to release, relax, and liberate your attention and focus. Yeah, like we can say like a bird flying up in the sky. Yeah, releasing, relaxing, becoming lighter and lighter. Lightness is exactly that. It's less heaviness. And openness is also exactly that. It is not limited, not mixed up, not bounded. or restricted. So restrictions are I'm not speaking about the outer restrictions, so to speak, as in, you have this room and these walls and this building and so on. I'm not speaking about outer restrictions. I'm speaking about inner restrictions, and the inner restrictions are so you can release and relax or withdraw from these inner restrictions, because in some way there is no one else but you. To a certain extent, there's nobody else but you keeping them, and you keep them usually what I call willingly and willingly. Is that you don't want to have them, but since you are avoiding, resisting, you keep them. So it's unwilling willingness, we can say. So to a large extent, there's only one being who keeps restrictions and limitations, and that is you, yourself. And therefore, it is a lot easier to actually be denser. It is a lot easier to mingle with energies. I like that word, mingle with energies, or mingle with your thoughts or feelings. And it's a lot more difficult to be free, to not do that. So freedom is a certain art, we can say. It's a certain art. It's a certain skill, we can say, as well. A certain science. It's actually all together. It's a skill and art and science to be free. Because it is a lot easier to be not free. That's the paradox that we have. It's a lot easier to go back into old habits, to go back into old conditions, to act out some stuff. It's a lot easier to do that than to actually pause and say, no, I'm not going to do that. And then to recognize you always have a choice. And then to choose not to act upon something, and then not to interact with something. You always have this choice, but people barely ever use this choice, since they believe that they are bound, that they have to respond, that it's a must. Nobody told you so, actually. So it's a certain assumption, a certain habit that people have, and most of the suffering actually is created, we can say habitually, unconsciously, ignorantly. So we are living in a society which has been in a pre-programmed, habituated, socially engineered way, and therefore, to a large extent, what we are doing is we are de-engineering, deconditioning, deprogramming, and withdrawing into something more lighter and more peaceful and less complicated. And that's where we are going. And everybody feels within themselves that there should be something more simple, that something should be a lot easier. Yeah, so that's the inherent feeling, inherent essence guiding you back home. So the emphasis is that undoing. Yeah, undoing and then pausing in the non-doing. Because it's a lot easier to do things, to interact to be in the activity, but now we're going to focus on undoing and then non-doing. Just not doing and then undoing. So we can say you need to undo your mind. You need to undo your focus and attention and undo the conditions and undo the traumas and undo the, the beliefs and concepts, ideas, and undo perceptions. At the highest level, to undo perceptions, because perceptions are views of, like, particular views of world, of reality, of now. So to undo these particularities, and then you are free. When you undo it all, then there's nothing else to do, and you're free, we can say. So yeah, so that's one. Number two is recognizing what is natural. What is natural? And so I'm giving so many examples by speaking, about conditions, and then what is that they are unnatural, so that you can recognize what is natural. So it is quite natural to be relaxed, to be neutral, yeah, to not jump into doing. That's what is natural. It's quite natural to be in what is called relaxed awareness. Relaxed awareness. Because most of you would think that awareness is like intense. I am aware, this is so intense, like, I have to keep it like as a laser focused awareness. No, that's called concentration. That is a concentration. So what is natural is a relaxed awareness. Yeah, that's natural. And then to have that kind of your attention squeezed, that is unnatural. So yeah, so we want to unsqueeze and we want to relax. And what happens when something is squeezed, it's limited, it's restricted. And when something is unsqueezed, it comes back in its original shape. So in the case of a squeeze ball, it's originally round. But what happens in terms of your attention and your focus, when it's squeezed, it's like what I call a lighthouse. So your attention and focus is like a lighthouse. And when it's unsqueezed and relaxed, it is open. And that's it. There's nothing restricted. You can still focus, you can still look at particularly the tree or a car or the sunlight and whatever. You can still focus on things, but your attention and focus is not like a lighthouse anymore. It's not limited, so it's just open. So maybe it's a bit difficult to logically understand what I'm saying, but all you need to know is that it's open. When it's unsqueezed, it's open. And therefore, you are more naturally relaxed. And at the same time, you are more aware as well. Not as an intensity or some, pressure or anything like that. You're naturally relaxed and aware. So that is also a natural quality within everyone, in your essence being, your Your essence being is that which is unsqueezed, is that which is relaxed, is that which is aware, is that which is open and present. So that is your essence identity, your essence self. Your essence self is always you, by the way. It will never feel that it's something else. So that's another big, confusion for people, that I'm gonna lose myself. No, that's not right. That's not what happens. You lose your, we can say, limited identity, but you are you. You become much more yourself than you have ever been yourself. Because, anger is not yourself. When you're angry, you know definitely that you're not acting like yourself. When you are sad, you know that it doesn't feel right. When you are, holding some belief systems, you always have a bit of fear that they're not really actually real. So beliefs and thoughts and mind structures, emotional structures, they never really feel that they're actually you, because they're actually not the real you in your deepest sense. The real you is the deepest you, and it does feel absolutely like yourself. So you will never ever lose yourself. You can only lose mind structures, belief systems, and all the things that were actually restricting you. Yeah, but self-realization is actually realization of self. That's why it's called self-realization. It's coming back to yourself. And these ideas about the Shiva consciousness, the Krishna consciousness, and Christ consciousness, and this and that, it kind of gives everyone an idea that you will become somebody else. You're gonna be Jesus now, and you're gonna be Krishna now, and you're gonna suddenly become somebody else. And no, that's not the case. You're gonna become yourself. And yourself as open, as boundless, as limitless, as shining, as bright, as transparent, and beautiful and loving and peaceful, your own dear and graceful self. Yeah, so that's what's really going on. Now, only by really being yourself, you transcend that which is not yourself. And as you work more and more at being yourself, you decondition. So what happens? You become more and more transcended self. You become more transcended yourself. In other words, deconditioned yourself. So the more and more beautiful qualities re-emerge, because they were keeping you down. So, just like when you let go of anger, your mind is a bit clearer. So you're back to yourself, in a common way, people say. So it's the same way that as you decondition, and as you spend more and more time being your real self, your true self, these natural qualities arise, and more beautiful qualities arise. And Christ consciousness, for example, is what is called a natural divine blueprint. It means a natural blueprint of each individual, of each, we can say, okay, in a Christian language, God conscious being. Yeah, so you are fully yourself, and you have deconditioned yourself so that you can have these beautiful qualities, and you have worked for them. as well. They don't just pop in like that. One moment you're full of anger and stuff, and like the next moment you're absolute angel. Maybe children can do that. Because children don't know, they did not get to know the mind. So in a way, only children can do that. One moment it's the whole world is collapsing, and 3 minutes later they are angels. So unfortunately, in a way, we have got to know the mind, and therefore it is a certain challenge to unknow the mind. Like, forget the mind. Just forget the mind. Forget you ever knew it. I know it's a bold statement, but it's a right invitation. Forget you ever knew it. Yeah. So, and what happens then? You're saying, "Oh, I'm free. That's it. I'm free. Lovely. Good. Why did I even want to know it?" You will say, it's just a bag of trouble. Yeah, I know it's not that easy, but it's a right invitation. So these higher qualities, such as Christ consciousness qualities, or Shiva and Krishna, and whatever name traditions give to these divine qualities. Maybe one word is divine qualities. And divine simply means that they're not regular human qualities. Because regular human qualities, we all know, anger is anger, sadness is sadness, they're popular ones. So divine qualities are those which are more pure, transcendent, unconditional. Yeah, and that's where, that's where everybody is aiming at, so you watch the videos and then you read the books and of self-realized people, and you say, I want to be that. And how do you get that? And well, there is a path to take, and this path is called not their path. This path is called your path. Yeah, so you need to take your path, and if a teacher is good, they will help you on your path. If the teacher is not so good, they will help themselves on their path, we can say. Yeah, so it's all about your path. So to come to these qualities, and now we also know there are personality types. So if you look at the teacher and you see this, for example, great intelligence, or this a certain even blissfulness and things like this, it depends on personality types as well. And then you see other teachers, if you have got to know more, that some are more like heart-based. So they're more centered in the heart naturally, like feminine way. And the other ones are more, you can say masculine way. So for example, Buddha was the example of the the intelligence, the supra intelligence. And perhaps like Ramana was more an example of stillness, and that's fine according to Ramana's personality type. And while Buddha was very outspoken and extremely deep in his seeing. So therefore we should not idealize either any particular type or any particular teacher. We should look at that, okay, they are representing that particular type to that particular level of we can say perfection or transcendence or divinity. And then you go back to yourself and you say, okay, so what is my type and what is natural to me, and I should work on myself. Yeah, so that removes a lot of kind of faith, a lot of idealizations, a lot of confusions, a lot of trouble along the way. Yeah, so you want to keep your path as clear as possible. So you want to go back to yourself, you want to work on yourself, you want to work on your qualities that you have, and you want to know more about your own essence type, and to work particularly on those qualities, that they become unconditional qualities, that they become transcendent qualities, and that they become eventually divine qualities. And that is your journey. So in today's meditation, we will work on, first of all, we will do a bit of practice with the inner sun, and then we will work on the connection with the source or your own highest divine self, your essence self. And we will also have a transmission to assist you and amplify this connection, amplify the essence self, and to help to decode that the lower qualities, we can say, or lower restrictions that you may have. Geneva, yes, I can see your hand raised.
Just a quick question, Mindo. You referred to forgetting the mind. Do our thoughts come from our mind? And if our thoughts come from our mind, how do we get rid of the mind, but still have those creative thoughts to create a positive reality?
Yeah, so there is no mind as such in reality. There is no such a thing as mind. Yeah, it's another wrong assumption. You have only thoughts, beliefs, and something that you identify with, but there is no mind. What is it really? So let's not create another identity where it doesn't even exist. So you do have thoughts. You can't get rid of your mind, but you can disidentify from your identity, from your restricted belief bundles. That you can do. You can't get rid of the mind because there is no mind as such. And your mind, or whatever that's supposed to be, it's only a concept. Did you get that? That you only named it as a concept, and now like you want to get rid of it, so you want to get rid of your concept. It doesn't exist. What does exist are your thoughts, concepts, and beliefs, and identity of what you believe is you, or what you believe is real. Now that what exists. The mind, there's no such a thing. It is just a human invented another name for something of convenience. So it doesn't exist in reality. There's no such a thing. But your thoughts, concepts, beliefs, they do exist. They're here. And you see through them. So you also don't need to get rid of your thoughts. because in one way they're not yours, first of all, but you need to decondition or start investigating. Is this belief real? What do I believe in? Is that really real? What is it really? To look closely at it. So as you look closely at the concepts that you hold, you will see that a concept is a concept. It's a certain filter. It's a certain projection. And belief is something, since A, B, C, D were right at this particular instance, so it must be real. But it doesn't apply to all other instances. And it doesn't define the existence of now. So they were only formed for the sake of conveniences, but people got trapped into those belief conveniences. So you also need to look at them and see them and to let them go, because you want to become more at ease and more free and more clear. That's what you want to do. So all these sayings to get rid of the mind and to kill the mind and so on, it's in a big sense there is no mind, but there's your identity. Yes, the identity. And the ego is, what is ego? Is something that you defend. It's when you get triggered, you defend it, yes, these politicians are right, and it's only the left and only the right, and you hold on to it and you defend it. So that's called the ego. Yeah, that's the ego. It's something that you hold on to and defend it. Yeah, and otherwise there is identity. And identities now, of course, they are more and more subtler. And at the deepest level, I would even say that when a person is at non-duality awareness level all the way to 1,000, there is no identity as such anymore, but there are certain conditionings. Yeah, and a person will not kind of hold on to them usually, but they may act out conditionally. Yeah, so they may still act out conditionally, but they will not be identifying with it as such. So there's a clear knowing that I'm not holding any identity anymore, but you may unknowingly act out upon certain conditionings at the higher levels of consciousness. Even at 1,000, you can still act out on your lower qualities, but there is no more mixture. So you're clear who you are. So self-realization is in a big way. It's really this big clarity of who you are. Yeah, and the qualities and actions are your fruits of your previous work, are the fruits of your labor, are the fruits of your previous deconditioning process and the fruits of your transcendence work that you have done before, healing work. So that's about qualities. Qualities are always being worked upon. And however, self-realization is really realizing who you are, having a clarity of who you are.